Zambia. In Zambia, 2 people are going to jail for attempting to kill the country's leader, the president. How? Via witchcraft. 2 men in Zambia are going to jail. They were convicted on Monday of attempting to use witchcraft to kill who? To kill the president. This man right here. The court is sentencing them for 2 years in jail and hard labor. Crazy stuff, isn't it? What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. Thank you for stopping by. You appreciate it. This is Zack. This is home. Here we talk about the motherland. You're welcome. We're in Zambia. Here's the map. Zambia is an interesting place. Now, in Zambia, 2 people are going to jail for 2 years for trying to unalive the president via witchcraft. You know, juju, voodoo. No, it's not voodoo. I know a lot of people talk about voodoo, but voodoo is a culture. Voodoo is not witchcraft. They call it witchcraft because they don't understand it. Voodoo is largely practiced as a religion in many countries. Now, in this instance, we have a situation where 2 people are being sent to jail for attempting to unalive the president. So in September 2025, in Lusaka, the magistrate court sentenced 2 men. Okay, 2 men, one from Zambia, the other one from Mozambique, for 2 years in jail and hard labor. They're going to be breaking rocks and working very hard for attempting to assassinate the president. And you're probably asking yourself, how is this even possible in 2025? Yes, it is happening. Now, what's the alleged ritual? The men were arrested in a hotel, okay? They were arrested in a hotel after a cleaner reported hearing funny noise in the room. The men were in a guest house doing their own witchcraft, okay, in a personal space. The cleaner heard them and called the police and said, listen, I think I'm hearing people here doing some weird things here. You need to come. The police rocked up very quickly and the police found them in the possession of a chameleon. You know what a chameleon is? Okay, chameleon, for those of you who don't know, it's a small vertebrate animal that looks like a crocodile, but like a lizard that changes colors depending on the environment where they are. Many people are scared of chameleon in Africa. I don't know why. They're trying to give it a spiritual connotation for some reason because, you know, things you fear, you want to demonize. They found them with the chameleon, with a red cloth, and an animal tail. You don't know which animal tail, but a chameleon, a red cloth, an animal tail, and a bottle of concoction with white powder. You know, this is crazy because Africans will believe anything. I'm sorry, but Africans will believe anything. I know a person I was talking to, you know, a while back. He said to me, if I were president of an African country, you know what I would do? Because if you stand by force, they're probably going to try and fight you, okay, to remove you in power. What you need to do is you hire a bodyguard. Make sure all your bodyguard are albinos. Yes, hire albinos as bodyguard. Wherever you go, you will go with the albino. My brother, you're going to stay in power for 30 years, if not 50. No one will ever try to take you out of power because they're going to be scared. They will fear. Or just get people. Yeah, let's continue on our story. So now, what is the prosecution's case? I mean, we're talking about legal system, okay, that's functional with people with brains. What is the claim here, okay? The prosecutor claimed that they were hired by a fugitive former member of parliament to cast a deadly spell on the president, okay? So the prosecution say that a member of parliament, a guy that ran away from the country, his name is Emmanuel Banda. So Emmanuel Banda used to be in parliament many years ago. He left the parliament because they were chasing after him. Apparently, there was a court case against him for stealing and taking things and being violent. The guy ran away from the country. But the guy is very much related to the former president, this man right here, President Lungu. He passed away. Now, Emmanuel is apparently related to the president. Now, they're accusing Emmanuel of doing bad things to the people, negative things. And Emmanuel ran away because he felt like that was politically motivated. Now, the court is accusing these 2 people of being sent by Emmanuel Banda, who promised to pay them $73,000 should they succeed their ritual of unaliving the president via witchcraft. Now, the law used right now, what is the law? Okay, there's a law in Zambia that came from the British. It's called the Witchcraft Act from 1914, which obviously the British came up with when they went to Africa, which criminalizes many things. You know, when white people came to Africa and they found people with their religions, okay, people were not religionless. When they brought Christianity, people prayed to their entities and whatever, ancestors. Now, whatever British didn't want, and white people in general, they criminalized by calling it witchcraft. You are doing witchcraft. You're gonna go to jail for that. you're going to be punished. That's how many Africans kept their knowledge very far away from the public. Some were forced to change the knowledge, to adopt Christianity and other religions. Other people were forced to run away. Now, this law by the British criminalized professing knowledge of witchcraft. So if you say I'm a witch, you're in trouble. You're going to jail. Number 2, possessing charm with the intent of harming. Like if you say I've got stuff and I can do you wrong, you can go to jail for that. Now, this is the law they're using against these two people. I mean, this reminds me of something very funny. You know, I have a friend of mine a long time ago. This guy loved women so much. So one time we went to a bar, nightclub, whatever. He left with a woman, okay? Living with a woman, he's telling me a story. He says he went with a woman, they went to his place and they did what they had to do. He says around about 5 o'clock in the morning when she had to leave, he thought about the price he had to pay. It was too much money. Then he said, no, I'm not paying that money. What do I do? So he went to the next bedroom. He took a white cloth, like a white bedding cloth, covered himself. Like imagine at 5 o'clock in the morning, you're coming back in the bedroom, the lights are off, and the stranger woman that you just met the same night is lying in the bed. She now sees this shadow of a person coming. She screams, let me out, I wanna keep the money. She ran away. The man was laughing his head off. You know, I know you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to pay people when they do services for you, but that was just crazy. Let's get back in Zambia. The prosecutor said the death of the president carried significant national implication. Their goal was not merely to instill fear, but to take the life of the president via chameleon. Now, I think you need to understand the cultural context here, okay? If you're American or from the Caribbean. I know some of you believe in witchcraft too, absolutely. You know, most black people do. I mean, some white people do too, especially East Europeans. Now, in Zambia, a survey said that 79% of Zambians believe in superpowers, you know, witchcraft and stuff. So it's embedded in the culture, even in churches. You know, pastors go see witch doctors to have successful churches. It's crazy. And this is not limited to Zambia. Now, the president of Zambia has also been increasingly accused of using the court to silence his opponent and more generally to crack down on free speech in Zambia. This is what the report says. They say the president doesn't want anybody to oppose him or anything like that. Is this exclusive to Zambia? No, most African presidents act in that way. You know, they will do anything. They will use anything to shut people up. Now, is this the case? Well, we don't know. There's also a story where the ex-president of Zambia, former president, this man, he passed away in South Africa. Lungu passed away in South Africa in June 2025. His body is still in South Africa right now. Why? Because his family doesn't want his body repatriated to Zambia. Why? Well, there have been many accusations. They say Lungu, the ex-president, and the current president never liked each other. And Lungu, when he was still alive, he said if he dies, they should never allow the states to bury him. Why? You need to understand the rivalry between the two presidents. When Lungu was president, the current president was nobody. And there was a moment he reported that apparently Lungu, as a president, was traveling on the road and the car of the current president refused to give them way. So they took him and arrested him. They threw him in jail. After throwing him in jail, he was eventually removed from jail. But then later on, he became president. When he became president, Lungu became very sick. And when he became very sick, apparently they refused him to leave the country for treatment. Yeah, many African leaders have to go to foreign nations to get treated for many diseases. Unfortunately, because of lack of good infrastructure, lack of good doctors, they have to go travel to Europe and other places to get treated. I know it's sad. Why? Don't you invest in a country? Make sure the country has good hospitals and good stuff. It's a shame that you have to travel to a foreign country, to another president's place, for you to get treated for the things you could have done in your country. Unfortunately, that was the case. Lungu was trying to travel to another country to go get treated, apparently for cancer or anything. We don't quite know. But it was reported that the current president refused to let him go. Okay, not refused directly, but he managed in some way to slow down his trips and travels for medical purposes. And obviously that created major resentment between the two parties. Now, Lungu eventually went to South Africa for treatment. That's where he was unalived. Now, his family has refused to let his body be repatriated in Zambia because the Zambian government want to give him, an honorable funeral. He's a president after all. You need to honor the president and put him to rest. His direct family say we are not doing that because he himself said he will never want to be buried next to that person. He said that person should never come to his funeral, talking about the current president. Now, rumors has it that the current president is trying to do funny things on the body. The rumor began circulating when Ichilima's insistence on repatriating Lungu's body was not political but spiritual. So people believe that the insistence of the current government is not political, it's spiritual. Some critics say that the president wanted to lay his eyes on the body for occult purposes. Okay, they want to do muti and juju and voodoo on the body of a dead president to assert his power for a long time. Is this true? We don't know. Well, this is not limited to Zambia. I mean, in Uganda, during elections, a lot of politicians are accused of using juju or muti or voodoo, not voodoo, but I know you call it voodoo, for political purpose. It's not voodoo, whatever.
When a person comes and asks me if they will go through or fail, I normally give them some medicine so they can win the election and their opponent will not go through. There are many people coming now because of the election season.
People are accused, and people don't even shake each other's hand in Uganda as politicians at that time, because some of them fear that other people have power. They're trying to take something away from them. I know some people will say Europe also had witch hunts, but that was a long time ago, in the 1400, when Christianity wasn't prominent yet. Okay, people did Wicca, witchcraft, and stuff like that. When Christians and church came very strong, they criminalized that. There was witch hunt. Many of them were women. Some people were accused falsely for witchcraft, and they were unalive without proper prosecution. Now, is this what we're seeing in Zambia now? People going to jail for witchcraft against the president. Does that even make sense? They say it's just the intention, the fact that you thought about doing something against the president. Well, we don't care. We're going to use the British law that had to shut us down many years ago, kill our cultures and tradition, for you to accept Christianity against you so you can go to jail. Let me know how you feel about this. It was a great pleasure. God bless.